Hi guys, I'm Martycore, and this is The Sims 2 User Interface 101. So something that will be, like, a lot of it will be obvious to a lot of people, but some of it is not really that obvious, especially if you haven't played the game for a while, you got back to it after years of not playing it, or you're not familiar with all the expansion packs and patches. So let me walk you through all of the options and all of the display that you have on the user interface. The needs font is bigger because of a mod, by the way. You will find it in the video's description, and let's go. I will zoom in a little bit, and you know what these are, right? Let's start from the left. So obviously seasons, you can see how much, I said you can see, thank you. You can see how much left there is in the current season. Each season is 5 days. You can set them up in the neighborhood view. I will show some features of neighborhood view as well in a minute. So this is customizable to a certain point. And of course, live mode or live mode. I will probably make a separate video on the pronunciation. Buy mode, build mode, photo album, very beautiful. Yeah, you can add pictures to it, and you're being fined, mister. You can change the title of this album. Any screenshot that you've taken in this family can be added. You can also, change their position. You can do them chronologically or whatever. But you can also, these are snapshots that you take with the camera. And also in the plus menu, you can choose any screenshot you've taken in this neighborhood. So it doesn't have to be this family only. And you can have like an entire story. Snapshots are taken with the C button, but you can also do it here. You can also capture videos, but videos cannot be in the album. The C snapshots aren't very big. You can change their size in the settings. I have another separate video on the settings, so make them the largest possible, but they will still not be very big. The quality will be okay, but they will not be very big. I think they are like 600 over 450 or something like that, so the resolution isn't spectacular. But if you want to have them straight in game, just you take a screenshot and it is in the album without any complicated processes on the way. Just press C, that's it. If you're taking screenshots in game, I would recommend not leaving much space on the top of the picture, because for some reason these pictures, like, they are squares almost. They are definitely more narrow than your screen, so for some reason they go all the way up. So if I take a screenshot like this, her entire head will be visible on the screenshot. I will show you that. This suddenly became a video about screenshots. Okay. Neighborhoods, N001, storytelling. This is the screenshot. You know what I mean? Also the legs, like, you can assume that the screenshot will be longer vertically than it is as you see it in game. Okay? This is a tip from me. And as you can see, it's not very big. Oh, very nice. Also remember that there is snapshot and there's thumbnail. Thumbnail is for the little pictures that you can see in the album display, like these ones. And snapshot is the actual picture. So if you're posting it somewhere, always remember to use the snapshot, not the thumbnail, because the thumbnail is super tiny. No one will see anything. So we have funds. And also when you go to, oh, okay, that's a spoiler. Also when you go to the buy mode, you can see lot information. So this shows you what the lot value is. And this plus this is what shows up when you see the family from neighborhood view. And you see like their whole net worth, This plus this is net worth, basically. So of course we have different types of walls, full walls, and also you can see the roof view, and change floors. I always do this with the keys. You can see here that it's home and end for walls, and page up, page down for floors. What does this do? Toggle ceiling. What does that mean? Well, basically what it says, it just turns on a ceiling in your house. This was definitely not in the base game. Another useful button on the UI that has to do with the ceiling is the 45-degree view. This is like frog view, kind of, like from the floor. If you have the ceiling toggled, you can see the ceiling. Like that's what it does. Without it, it's just open space. Also, this lamp can be fixed with a mod, by the way. I don't have it just yet. I'm kind of used to it, but yeah, it doesn't really stick to the ceiling. It's supposed to be like inside the ceiling. It's supposed to look completely different, but well, they screwed it up. It happens. You don't technically have to use the frog perspective to see the ceiling. You can just move the camera low enough, but this view is very useful for painting ceilings. Yes, you can paint ceilings with floor tiles. This came first in The Sims 2. You can activate this view by pressing G. Also, T gives you this view. This is this top-down view. Very useful if your sim misplaced homework somewhere and you can't find it. Desk locator is the way to go. Yeah, you can only see the ceiling if there are floor tiles. So, if the next floor doesn't have floor tiles, like I have a hole here, you can't really see anything. So you have to actually have a ceiling. So there is a special floor in the game that is called white top ceiling and costs 0 simoleons. So that's how you can actually make a ceiling for your Sims. Without painting it on the other way around, but actually like having the ceiling in the first place. So in buy or build mode, you can also change the light. You can also do this in neighborhood view. You can use L to do this on your keyboard. So if you don't want downtown to be always in nighttime, you can do this. In the neighborhood view, it might lag a little bit before it changes, but you can do it. Then we have age, then we have time, then we have speed. So speed can be controlled by the keyboard as well. So here you have the aspiration. You can see what your Sim's aspiration is, wants and fears. If you fulfill a want, the Sim gets points, and for those points you can go down here into rewards and you can buy aspiration rewards that do certain things. Let's not go too deep into that. There is definitely a video somewhere out there. Oh my god, my bird died. Okay, never mind. If you fulfill fears, of course, points are subtracted from your Sim's reward system, let's call it that. Also here in the rewards panel, you have the Sim's inventory, yeah, my Sim has a cake in his inventory and pizza, of course. And also there are career rewards. Oh, he has a lot actually. That's so weird. Each career has a reward that your Sim can unlock on a certain level, and the levels differ depending on career. Most of these rewards are for learning skills faster than normal and just cool objects to have in general. So what about the 3 bars here? You probably know the most basic one that used to be like super wide in the base game, but then they added a bunch of things next to it. This is the aspiration bar, so basically how happy your Sim is based on what wants or fears you fulfill for them. So this drops over time, like once every few hours if you don't fulfill any wants. So if you don't fulfill your Sim's wants, they will end up unhappy at a certain point, which is super realistic. If you hover over it, you can see the lifetime want. Remember that lifetime wants were not in the base game. They were added in the university patch. So technically you don't have to have university to have lifetime wants. You can have any newer expansion pack to have lifetime wants. I used to only have pets, and I used to have lifetime wants. The same goes for chemistry. Chemistry was added in the nightlife patch, so the same thing. You don't really need nightlife specifically to have a chemistry in your game. Yeah, so my point for the lifetime want is that a lot of pre-made Sims will have the most random lifetime ones that don't match their bios or their careers or anything. Like, they are completely randomized. Same also for turn-ons and turn-offs, so they might not really have the best chemistry with their spouses or something. It's just completely randomized. I reset the family because I couldn't look at the bird. So chronologically, the next meter is the influence meter. I can't remember where it came from. It's probably university, because you can influence someone to do your assignment or whatever. I think so. Like university patch again, because I remember having this when I only had pets. This is what your sim can influence others to do. So there is the influence interaction, influence chew, and you have a bunch of things here. So if you invite someone over and you want them to clean or serve a meal or whatever, you can spend these points on doing that. So you can stir up some drama with fights or something. I don't really use it that often, but it's actually a pretty cool feature. And how do you gain influence points? When you hover over the ones that have the navy blue frame, these are the ones that give you influence points. And also we need friends to, like there is the bar itself that can go all the way up here, and there is also, it fills up with points as well. So it's kind of like charisma in The Sims 3, that you can't go up in the charisma scale if you don't have a certain number of friends. So this is kind of like that. Kalista needs 3 more friends to attain the next influence level. So you can have a very influential sim because a lot of other sims respect them and stuff like that. It's just that certain ones give influence points. Usually they are like social ones or fears, like going on dates, woohooing and stuff like that. I think also like getting your kid into private school gives you influence, like stuff that will gain you respect. And the last meter that I believe came in free time. Yeah, definitely, because it's connected to the lifetime aspiration benefits. This meter gives you these points. And when you create a sim or load up a random pre-made family, usually the sims have like 5 points, I think. But they can also gain more over time. These are just some benefits that you can get depending on what the Sim's aspiration is. You can have a secondary aspiration, which I find the most useful. I don't really use any of these pretty much because they make the game too easy, but if you find needs to be too hard and dropping too much, then you can just use these up and the game will be easier for you. Also, there's stuff like plead for job, family sims, bargain with the social worker. There are some cool things to use here. But the secondary aspiration will make the sim a mix of 2 aspirations. So if it's romance and fortune, like here, the sim can at the same time want to woohoo with 5 different sims and progress in their career. I never really paid that much attention to how, like what the ratio is. I think it's actually like 50-50. It really depends on what wants the sim rolls that day. Especially that also seasons influence wants. Like summer is for friendly relationships. You can make friends faster, and also sims may have wants like talk to someone or play with someone, stuff like that. Aside from water balloon fights, in fall, they learn faster, and they might also, non-knowledge sims might get the gain a skill point want just out of the blue. They do that outside of fall as well, but it's a lot more often in fall. Winter is for family interactions and family relationships, so sims will want to talk to a relative. And also, it's easier to make family relationships in winter. In spring, sims will have a lot of romantic wants, like go on a date or flirt or kiss. Kissing actually fulfills if you kiss your child as well. It doesn't have to be romantic, but you get the point. Also, it's easier to make romantic relationships. So wants are influenced by the sims' primary aspiration, secondary aspiration if they have it, the season, and also their personality. A little bit at least, especially job wants. So this meter is fulfilled by, having a fulfilling life in general, stuff like getting promoted, getting married, teaching kids to walk, and, they are called milestones. So like big events that happen in your Sim's life will get you these points over time. So Sims just kind of gain this meter, kind of like it just happens, like, their life happens and also the meter happens. It's kind of it just goes together. Fulfilling this meter completely gives your sim a permanent platinum aspiration that doesn't go down ever, the same as when you fulfill their lifetime want. Once this fills up, there's really no point in fulfilling their lifetime want anymore, and usually this happens faster, especially if they have a family and stuff. So I personally use the slower LTA gain, LTA as in lifetime aspiration mod, because normally your sim will fill up this meter pretty fast, like halfway through their adulthood probably, especially if they have kids, as I said, and if they've been to college and stuff like that. So I feel like this is not balanced well in the game. Okay, so contacts, relationships. By default you have all. You can also expand this to see more. If you sort it by family only, you will only see sims that have the family icon. So my sim doesn't have his partner here because she is not his wife. So she will be in the household only. Here he has his daughter and his cousin, I believe. So this icon goes for parents, grandparents, children, grandchildren, and also first cousins. And siblings, of course. Friends only, you know the drill. The people that have the friend flag. Doesn't have to be best friends, just friends. And then we have chemistry. So we can sort by chemistry and only see sims that your sim has chemistry with, but the sim has to know the chemistry with these sims. So they've had romantic interactions with them, or they checked them out, or chemistry just somehow appeared. Because sometimes a sim meets another sim and immediately knows what the chemistry is. It's weird, but it happens. If the sim has negative chemistry or like whatever chemistry, like no chemistry with the sim, they will not appear here. Not knowing the chemistry technically counts as no chemistry. It's the same. Like there's just nothing there. It's like here. So from 1 bolt to 3 bolts, all the sims will be shown here, sorted from the highest to the lowest chemistry. So even if the bolts are the same for a few sims, they are still sorted by chemistry. So by points. So if you're, I don't know, if you have a dilemma on who to choose for your sim because they have 2 bolts with 3 sims or something, you can sort it like this and see who the highest chemistry is. I do that a lot. It can't be sorted a different way because it's definitely not alphabetical, either by names or by last names. You can see that this doesn't make any sense in alphabetical order. So it is actually sorted by points of chemistry. And all sims are sorted from the highest to the lowest relationship, but also have in mind that if a sim is on the lot, they will also appear here first, even if the relationship is lower than with other sims. So for example, if I spawn Brian Newson here, here's Brian, he knows Brian, so now Brian skips here because he is on the lot. Relationships is also where you can access the family tree. This family tree window is made bigger by a mod that I will link as well. So skills and career. The number here is a mod. Unfortunately, there is no way in the vanilla game to know which level of career your sim has. You would have to Google it. It's super annoying, so I really recommend this. Working days, off days, vacation days. Vacation days are gained every week of work. I'm not sure if... No, days off probably don't count in that. You have to work for 7 days to gain a vacation day. I am pretty sure. Job performance, how many friends your family has. Friends for work are counted as, like, not only the friends of that sim, but the entire family. But sims who are family, like, you know, these ones don't count in this as work friends. Any sim with the family flag will not count as a work friend. They don't have to live in your sim's household. So cousins, siblings, parents, your boss doesn't care you're friends with them. But sims who do live in your sim's household don't count either, even if they're not related. But if your sim's daughter has a friend, that friend counts. But you can see all the friends here. The game just counts it for you. So plus and number is whatever more friends they need for another promotion. Scales, of course, This is the skill that my sim needs for another promotion, the frame around it, and badges. So, okay, I don't think any of my sim has a badge here, but these are the badges for from either open for business or free time, so like sewing, robot making. The higher the badge, the better the sim is at that certain skill. So they are kind of like additional skills, and your sims can craft objects, for example, with these skills. Not all of them have it, but a lot of them do, like robot making in the gold badge will give your sim the ability to make a servo. Also, badges come in seasons because there's the gardening badge. So with the gold badge, your sim can talk to plants and increase their quality. This way, plant sims are born with this badge. Not even born, like when the sim becomes a plant sim, they automatically get the badge. The toy making badge can give you very cool toys for like toddlers. And there's also school, of course, if your sim is a younger one. Yeah, and I think for the working skills, that's it. And then we have simology, and that's where it ends. So there's the sim's bio, she doesn't have one. There's the personality, and of course, we need to remember that the thin lines beneath the points are the genetic value. So if your sim's personality changes in life, like through encouragement or something, or they're a werewolf, this is what they will pass to their offspring. The thin line, the genetic value. This is divided in the Sims too. And there's fitness, so if your sim either exercises a lot or eats too much, they can become fit or fat in quotations. It's not even close to fat, but okay. Reputation is something that you gain by interactions on community lots. Depending on what the sim does on community lots, people will make like an opinion about them. So, if your sim has a good reputation, they might get like objects from other sims, or like the network interactions to get a different job or like get a promotion. And also, if they have really high reputation, they will have like extra points when they meet someone new. And the opposite of that is negative points whenever they meet someone when they have very bad reputation. I had a sim with the worst reputation. She kept fighting people on community lots, and everyone hated her. Like whenever she met someone, they already had minus points with her, like minus 20. So we know how the Sims 2 Sims are. Even if they have -1, they will just immediately like slap your sim and everything, and they will like, not a minute passes and they hate each other. So bad reputation is pretty bad. It actually does something. And your sims will also get like the opposite network things. Like maybe lower pay or like higher rent when they live in an apartment building. I think reputation actually came with apartment life. I'm not sure. I'm really bad at knowing which feature is from which expansion pack, but I think so because it has a lot to do with rent as well. So a random sim can also like tell your sim you're getting demoted tomorrow or something. Like it's pretty bad. Reputation actually does things if your sim is not an average cabbage. Interests, they don't really do much. I do a lot with them. I choose careers based on interests. I have an entire calculator on that, link in the description. But in the game, only conversations depend on interests. So if Kalista here talks to someone who is not very interested in paranormal, they will probably like cover their ears and go blah 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 blah, and they will just like start arguing, basically. You can change topic by clicking on your sim during conversation. So if you feel like, okay, maybe this topic is not the best to talk about, maybe let's talk about like entertainment or something, then you can do that. You can change that and maybe make the conversation better. Also, Sims can change their interests by reading magazines that you can buy from the press rack on community lots. Hobby enthusiasm. So there are 12 hobbies in the free time expansion pack. Some of them are connected to badges as well, like arts and crafts can be gained by sewing, and you can get a badge in sewing. Like it all intertwines, you know? So I have a special catalog on hobby. I gave it to you in under one of my videos. There will be a link here too, with all the hobby objects from cuisine up to music and dance, so that I don't forget which objects do the hobby things. Like, give them enthusiasm in certain hobbies. And for every sim you can see this highlighted hobby. This is the so-called one true hobby. This is the hobby that the game thinks is best for the sim based on their personality and interests. Mostly personality. So because my sim is lazy and playful, I think these traits are for games. Yeah, the game thinks games is the perfect hobby for her. So this sim will gain enthusiasm in games faster. One true hobby is kind of like a predestined hobby for this sim, so it will be easier to gain enthusiasm in it, and the first interaction that they do in this hobby will pop up a notification of, oh, I'm so glad I tried this blah blah activity. This is what one true hobby does. Memories, you can also expand it to see them better, to see more on one page. Also, there are the vacation mementos. Oh, she actually has one. Yeah, learn to bow. That makes sense. Because Sims are actually bowing to each other all the time and they, like, infect each other with it. So these are, like, little achievements that your Sim can do on vacation. And chemistry, so turn-ons and turn-offs. If you'd like to know more about chemistry, because not only turn-ons and turn-offs play a role in chemistry, it's also aspiration, personality. Leto Mills made a very, very in-depth video, like super thorough, about chemistry, how it works exactly, what the numbers are, you know, everything. Okay, so when you're leaving the family and going into the neighborhood, just remember that you can click here and skip a loading screen. If you want to go to a completely different neighborhood straight from the family view, you can do it. You can go to main menu here. You don't have to go to the neighborhood here. You can just do it here. Also, if you want to go straight to the shopping district, you can do it here, to university, whatever. This is also really good to know. Like, you can just go to main menu, double click Strange Town, and you go to Strange Town. Super fast. Another way to skip loading screens potentially is having clickable neighbors turned on. It is turned on by default. So then when you're playing one family, you can just click on a neighboring house that is visible from the lot view, and it will give you a notification, would you like to go and play that family? And you say yes, and it just immediately loads up from one house to another. So this can be also useful, but it's also annoying if you click on it by accident, so I have this off, but this is another way of skipping loading screens. So in neighborhood view, you can also change it to nighttime. It lagged just a tiny bit. I think it's worse downtown because there are a lot of buildings there. Here, you can send the Sims to college, even in your main neighborhood. If you have a college neighborhood, you can just do it here. You don't have to even load up the college neighborhood to send Sims. I mean, you have to go there to play them, but you can do it here. So I mentioned that I would be talking about setting up seasons later, so yeah, you can just click on the season button and here you can, I don't know, make it all winter, or you can change any season to any season pretty much, and you can see which season is which because it's not really that obvious in the circle here. So this is 1, this is 4. It goes like clockwise. So this is it for this video. I hope I provided some information that you needed. Remember that I have a Tumblr that has a lot of resources, or if you're curious how I play the game, you'd like to ask a question, a very specific question about it, it might be on my Tumblr already. If you'd like to know anything else about The Sims 2, any other basics, ask me in the comments and I'll see if I feel competent to make a video about it. And as always, thank you very much for watching this video, and see you in the next one. Bye!